Right, Molo Sanbonani, hello, how's it? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday, people. We're back at it again here on Vuka Nazo, only on the Big Daddy Liberty Show. My name is Sihle Ngobese, aka Big Daddy Liberty. You can tell perhaps by my regalia this morning that I'm a very happy Zulu man. and you'll find out why in a moment. But before you do, remember we've got a website. Visit us at www.bigdaddyliberty.com, especially if you want to get in touch with me here at the show. And of course, catch all our content, which is now on the website. And of course, find us on social media. All of that information is in the descriptor of this video. With that being said, good morning. How about we get straight into the news? All right, and so I begin perhaps with the most topical news for me at least, and actually millions of South Africans at the moment, and that is the installation and coronation of the new Zulu king. That's King Misuzulu KwaZulu-Natal ka Bheki Zulu. Remember the ka denoting of, in this case, Zwelithini, his father, and who's of Bheki Zulu, who's his grandfather. Now, exciting times, of course, indeed, captured rather nicely in this piece by the Times, the News 24, which basically read, "It was a showcase of Zulu regalia and traditional weapons as attendees came dressed in their most extravagant outfits while brandishing handcrafted weapons replicating those used for hunting or during wars in the past. The large crowds, and I really mean large, were mostly made up of Izintombi, Zulu maidens, and Amabutho, Zulu regiments." Shout out to the Zulu regiments, man. As well as, of course, community members from far and wide across the country, end of quote. It was really a fantastic event. And again, I'm not going to bog this morning news segment by going into the problems faced by the Zulu king or even the Zulu royal household, except to say you can catch details and expert analysis on the Zulu royal household here on the show. Just search my last week's episode of the Big Daddy Liberty Show, where I was in conversation with Udalisu Telezi, Zulu historian, who helped break down, on the one hand, the history of the Zulu family and succession issues, and of course, helped us understand the actual fracas around the current ascending to the throne. Except to say this, maybe in conclusion, it is widely accepted and widely appreciated that King Misuzulu is the rightful king of the Zulu nation. And we saw that over the weekend with tens of thousands of Zulus descending on Nongoma in northern KZN in order to see their king go through the ritual of Ukungena Esibayeni, which is to enter the kraal, effectively a traditional ceremony, almost a spiritual one, where the king presents himself before his ancestors, former kings, if you will, and exits as the rightful heir of the throne. Sitibayete, King Misuzulu, pardon me, KwaZulu-Natal, long may you reign. All right, I take you once again as we do follow up, as I promised that we do, on that story involving the finance minister, A1 Enoch Godongwana, who you'll remember is being accused of sexual harassment, effectively, or sexual assault, to be more specific, after it's alleged that at a spa, luxury spa in the bush, somewhere in the Skukuza area, at a spa at that particular event where he and his wife were allegedly getting a massage or spa treatment, that Godongwana, the minister, then proceeded to grope the person who was massaging him at the time. Now, more revelations have come out in a Times live piece, which claims exclusive access to the complainant, who basically details that she had reported the matter to the police, and that now this matter is subject to a police investigation. The allegations, of course, here, and counter-allegations are what is the new development in the story, with the allegation being that the minister had attempted to pay her off with her silence after giving her a 400 Rand tip. according to the allegations against him. The minister, of course, coming back and saying, well, the tip was a thank you, if you will, for the massage that she and her colleague had conducted on him and his wife. And a further revelation here is that the minister himself, when he was giving statements to the police, was called by a so-called General Stemela from the police, who, again, according to the allegations, was offering to make the case go away if the minister had deposited 200,000 Rand into a certain bank account. This whole thing just rings of accusation, counter-accusation, and is super messy. And I'll reiterate what I said last time. What we want to see here is a quality investigation that basically gets to the truth. And if the minister, if there's solid evidence against him on this particular matter, for him to face the music, to face the full wrath of the law. And now with these counter-allegations coming out, obviously complicates things, and it does bring me to say the following. If this is a case of false accusation or a political motive or even a financial motive behind what we're seeing here is maybe a false allegation, then that in and of itself would also be incredibly disgusting and should see the false accuser, if that is the case, face the might of the law, because we live in a country where there are far too many incidents of gender-based violence, far too many incidents of rape, sexual assault and the like, for this to become a political playground, so to speak, for politicians to settle scores maybe, or for people to try and extort other people. The piece itself in the Times Live citing a police source, an anonymous one, said, the police source said that the massage took place on a Tuesday and the woman gave her statements to officers 3 days later on the Friday. Quoting this source, they said, there's really no time limit on when such complaints can be laid, as the time it took, however, will be taken into consideration by the prosecutor. That source continues to say multiple factors will be considered by the prosecutor in deciding whether to have a person charged and prosecuted. Amongst these was credibility of the accusation and the possibility that there could be a political or financial motive behind it, given who the accused is. End of quote. So with that being said, as I said, we will keep an eye on this story. It should now play itself out in court, but before that, obviously the case will be handed over to the National Prosecuting Authority for them to decide if there is enough evidence to proceed here. Either way, we will keep an eye on it here on the Big Daddy Liberty Show, because it still is rather shameful that this matter is playing out and it is a finance minister, a senior politician in this country, who faces these charges. All right, in my final story for this moment, I bring you to another issue, one which is far too familiar. We spoke about it last week in different contexts, and that is how politicians and the political elites always give themselves the absolute best at your expense. In this instance, one President Cyril Ramaphosa chartering a flight with SAA in order to go to a recent get-together, shindig in Kinshasa, Congo, a conference or a summit in that part of the world. That flight, that chartering of an SAA flight, costing us, the taxpayers in this country, 2.6 million rands. That for a flight to go to Kinshasa and back with just about 11 of his team, 2.6 million rand. Now, I was wondering, and I'm sure you're wondering, where is his presidential jet? You know, the one that is operated by the Air Force. Well, that jet is grounded, of course, simply because of the incompetence of the Air Force. Now, this has serious implications for costs, because that same flight, which was estimated to have cost 2.6 million rand by chartering an SAA flight for a mere 11 people, would have cost a mere 800,000 rand had it been the presidential jet that was used. And I say a mere, as if that's any better. 800,000 rand for 11 people in order to fly to Kinshasa and back. But here's the kicker. Why is the presidential jet grounded, you may be asking? Well, Times Live unpacks the issue here by pointing out that the Defence Force, South African National Defence Force, specifically the Air Force, simply didn't renew a key subscription that is required that updates the systems of jets and allows them to be airworthy. The Times Live piece basically had this to say. Times Live Premium understands that there are a number of reasons why the VIP flight cannot fly at the moment. However, the main reason is that the Air Force has not paid its subscription fees for the monthly updates to the database. No aircraft flying in international airspace is allowed to fly without the latest flight data. Aviation specialists, their quotes here, said the subscription to the Jefferson, that's the flight data database, is normally provided by service providers approved by Boeing, who of course provide the updates. The system updates onboard avionics on the aircraft, including the latest flight information about airports, landing strips, approaches to airports, and other information. The system is usually updated every 28 days, end of quote. Now, again, it's the incompetence of the Air Force which always costs you and me a hefty bill. The very sort of money that you and I, ironically, don't even get to enjoy, in some cases, in a lifetime. Because this is a costly mistake. They have not, that's the Air Force, they have not updated the system since March already. And you now have a situation where this is costing us a lot of money. Now, it gets even deeper because the military, that's the Air Force and the Defense Force, does confirm this. In that same piece, a Brigadier General Andries Mahapa has this to say. The spokesperson for the military confirmed that the database contract expired in March this year. An application process for the renewal was initiated in September last year, but Mahapa declined to say why it had not been concluded yet. Only that the, quote, processing forums were not functioning for some time, end of quote. Guys, this is ranking competence. It's ranking competence. And again, I must reiterate, it costs you and me a pretty penny. Do you think the politicians care? Of course not. As long as their plush bums are in the best of the best, you and I will continue to pay out of our nose. All right, that's it for this episode, the Monday edition, tada, of Vuka Nazo. Let me know what you think about these stories. And hey, maybe you have some recommendations for stories that you want me to cover. Do that, of course, by contacting us via our website. That's at www.bigdaddyliberty.com. Make sure you hit that contact section at the bottom and let me know what you have on your mind. Whilst you're there, hey, consider supporting the channel financially. People are doing between 100 Rand and 150 Rand a month in order to support our work here. All of that information is also on our website. Find us, of course, on all of our social media. Speaking about social media, if you're watching this on YouTube, do me a solid. Hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification so that you're notified every weekday from 7 a.m. when Vuka Nazo is live. With that being said, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow, only on Vuka Nazo.